All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Tripod. My name is Raphael Sangili. I'm the creative director here at Tri Digital, and today we're actually joined by Ricky Chechny. So did I say that right?
Cicchini.
Cicchini.
Good enough.
So we're joined by Ricky Cicchini, and he's actually one of our head copywriters here. He's been doing a great job for us, and we're going to talk about how to make an effective blog, how to actually write an effective blog, and how to write mostly like technology blogs can get really stupid. So how to make a technology blog that people actually want to read. So stay tuned and let me know what you think. Thanks for joining us today. This is Ricky Cicchini. I hope I pronounced that name right.
You did not, but it's okay. It's Cicchini. Close.
I'm here to offend and land teach.
You do well.
Thank you. I practice at it. So Ricky's actually one of our copywriters, everybody.
I am.
Dude, amazing writer. Like, he's got a lot of experience. People giving you props, bro. I gotta give it to you because our clients love your work.
Yeah.
He's just, aside from that, moderately interesting and generally cool guy. Actually, no.
Some would debate.
He's super cool, man. Very interesting dude. Actually, you have a background in IT, right?
I sure do. I started about 4 years ago. I built a little, like a Raspberry Pi. It's a tiny little computer. I tried to program some video games on it, and then I was like, I was really bad at that, so I said, screw it. I started building my own computers. That kind of snowballed into looking into IT stuff. Ended up, I don't remember how, I just ended up working as an IT guy for a couple of years, and then I was like, oh yeah, I went to school for copywriting. I'm going to do both. And
Nice.
That's Tri Digital.
Sweet, dude. Well, actually, it's actually pretty crazy because you're one of the few people that we know that has like a technical background,
Right.
And actually, so you know how to write, you know what the technology does,
Yeah.
and then you can still write it about it in an interesting way. And dude, he's been killing it on our blog. So if you guys get a chance to check out some of our Tri Digital's blogs, he writes for some of us, and then also a ton for a lot of our clients. But
Right.
what do you think some of the biggest challenges or biggest mistakes people make when they first start thinking about writing a blog, for technology?
Ooh, I think a lot of things that people don't consider is that technology blogs are like overdone for the most part. So to stand out, because you need them, can I back up for a sec?
No.
Okay, we're
No, I'm just
done.
kidding.
That's it. Let's talk about why you need blogs in the first place, because a lot of times people don't recognize why we even do it. They see it as just like, okay, cool. Why does every site have a blog? Even coffee shops, whatever. But the bigger the company, the more content they need. There's a little thing called SEO, search engine optimization, and that's like how modern businesses survive. You need to get relevant information up on the site that's updated constantly to stay fresh. Because if Google thinks you're dead, you're dead. No one's ever going to find you unless they physically go to you, they call you, whatever, which is a slim chance. So writing blogs, I'll keep it short because there's tons of stuff that goes into it. But the point is, you do them, you have engaging content, you get people to go to it, and the better you do, the more links you have, stuff like that, the better your rankings are. So you really want to focus on making good stuff. So it's really easy to pump a bunch of crap and call it a blog and be like, oh, I have a bunch of stuff with keywords, even if you don't know what you're doing. And people do that frequently. Oftentimes, especially IT companies, people we don't work with that kind of ask us for an assessment, we'll look in and we'll see that they've just been dropping crap in their blogs. And they're like, we have a blog. And it's like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
So I guess to get back to your question, something I see people do is they pick topics that they think are helpful, and they'll write them to other MSPs, which is really dumb because I'll take like managed services, for example. They'll write managed services targeted to managed services. They'll want to use industry terms. They'll want to use maybe metrics that the average person doesn't care about. And I think a big mistake people do is they don't focus on who's reading it, which is something at Tri Digital we establish. We talk to the clients and we say, hey, do you want to target C-level positions? Your technical, your IT director, but that's kind of for like enterprise and stuff. Or do you want to go for like the dude who runs the coffee shop? Do you want to go for the pet store owner? Their pet store owner still? Is that still a thing?
No.
Okay,
that's fine.
You don't want to go for the pet store owner. That's fine. Coffee shops, I know there's those. And that's really, target setting is a big deal because at that point you're setting the tone for the entire blog.
Yeah.
So instead of doing managed services, blah 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 blah, you set a thing that's like, here's why your business needs managed services, and you speak to the person, regardless whoever it is. Then when you're actually writing the blog, I would say that another big mistake people do is that they make it just the most bland, boring pain to get through, which is they think it's fine from the SEO perspective because they pump it full of keywords. So you can say managed services 50 times in a blog, and they'll be like, oh, there's plenty of keywords in there. I should be all over Google when you type in managed services.
Right.
not so. There's lots of factors that come into consideration, like the bounce rate, which is how quickly someone goes in. If they don't stay and read your blog, and they bounce back out, that's the bounce rate. You're going to take a real big hit. There's obviously keywords are important, but
Sure.
it's weaving them in an interesting pattern and through stuff. And also, I think intros and outros make a big play into it. So I personally try to write some good hooks to get people in, and usually they're nonsensical in a way. You know, when you have dozens and dozens of blogs and thousands of blogs on the internet, it's hard to differentiate them from other ones that are likely over the same subject matter. So the best way to do that is just to take the personality of the MSP or whoever we're marketing for and inject it, because that's the only way you're going to get someone to like who you are and know who you are, you know?
Yeah.
So actually, I have an example that we can pull up that I did for a client of ours, iPro.
All right, let's pull it up.
I believe it's called Business Communications and Barbecue Sauce.
Business communications and barbecue sauce?
Yeah.
That sounds like iPro. That's super Texas.
It was like 11:30 a.m. I was kind of hungry, and I was like, I know what they like. I know what I like too.
Dude, who doesn't like barbecue sauce?
Gentle. There it is. There it is. Business Communications and Barbecue Sauce. So the goal of this blog isn't to talk about barbecue sauce, though I did get away with that. It's to start with an intro that just has nothing to do with it, because again, iPro likes to target people who, are from Texas. So this is a super Texas-heavy blog. In fact, if you scroll down a little bit, Texas is the best sauce of all. So if you're not even reading it, you just kind of get hooked into that Texas angle, which is good for the targeting. But at the same time, it's like the whole intro is built to disarm you. You're not trying to sell anyone anything. You're not trying to push your services immediately. You're just having a conversation. You're just telling them why they need something. Because again, one of the biggest things that MSPs struggle with is not only do they have to sell their service, they have to sell why they need the service.
Sure.
So the reason we have blogs like these is for education. So it starts off with a corny barbecue comparison, and then it kind of goes into, the components of business communication. And this can be done with really whatever subject. It's not.
But it's not really salesy. It's just informational, right?
Right.
I mean,
and
really,
the point isn't to be salesy. I mean, because from a logical perspective, if you're going to buy something, you're going to buy something. That's not what blogs are for.
Right.
It's kind of like you're catching them at the interest state, and because there's like a funnel with all the states of where they're at in the sales process. So obviously it's very rare that someone's going to close on a blog. No one's going to be like, I read that blog on barbecue sauce, now I'm in.
Yeah, I'm ready to do this.
Not going to happen. But if someone's Googling, business communications, what is it? And they hit this importance of business communications, because that's kind of like the meta tags and long story. But they're going to land on something like this, and they're going to kind of get informed, and they're going to get a flavor for iPro. Stupid. Anyways, and it's just like it doesn't really matter what it is, but you have to inject interest inside your blogs, otherwise it'll never work.
Yeah, I mean, what about like the way people write? So you mentioned making it conversational, making it kind of light, easy, right? I think a lot of guys make the mistake of going way too serious and way too technical on some of their blogs,
yeah,
right?
And honestly, that used to be my problem because as I come from a technical background, I'm used to just benefit breakdowns because if you look at tech specs for something, that doesn't tell you, like if you're literally, comparing two cell phones or something, it'll tell you, XYZ megapixel camera, XYZ megapixel camera, and you just kind of get that. So it's up to you to find out what's better, what's not. And writing like that is fine if you're a robot, but humans aren't like that. Humans are emotional. They base their emotional, they purchase emotionally and then they justify it with logic. So the best way you're going to ever draw in anyone is to make them like you.
Sure.
Because in reality, I mean, you're not selling anything special. Unless you're doing something really crazy with whatever service you're doing, you're selling the same thing as every other person. So the only differentiating factor is your interests and your tone and your voice.
Well, how do you capture the tone of a client? Because you're not writing for yourself, right?
Right.
You're writing for a variety of other people. Like, how do you capture somebody's tone and make it still sound like them?
I think a big part of that is meeting the person, because that's why we meet them, right? I mean, we don't. It's one thing to keep email communications and all that, but it's the same thing TriDigital does with the clients themselves. We don't just send an email being like, thanks for buying our services. We're starting the blogs now.
Yeah, thanks for your money.
Yeah, thanks for the money. By the way, thanks for the money.
Exactly.
So when we do an onboarding and someone
Sure.
comes in and I get to shake their hand and I can speak personally from the copy perspective. I usually don't talk for about 90% of the meeting because all I want to know is I want to listen to how they talk. Even pronunciation and stuff will tell me where they're from, what they're you can kind of gauge their interests on stuff.
Mhm.
You can gauge kind of like their beliefs, their values, and based on that, you can open up the conversation to what are your interests, and your interests really shine through. So like iPro for example, they're super cool. They like Texas stuff. They like barbecue stuff. They're just kind of like, and they're very very cool and they're chill.
And like,
So
how long do you keep these podcasts? Like, I mean, sorry, these blogs.
about 30 minutes.
Yeah, right. That's a magic number.
Yeah.
But how do you actually make these like how long should I make this blog? Do you have like a set limit? Do you know like, hey, I don't want to make it any longer than this, or I don't want to make it any shorter than this?
If we're talking strictly word count, we do try to limit it under about 700. And that's not
Okay.
because there's not enough to say. It's because generally for blogs, you want to inform someone, just keep it interesting and let them go. That's it. For the longer stuff, I mean, we have that. We have white papers and ebooks, which are functionally the same thing, but more in depth and longer, and they've got a lot more stuff. But I think the overall point. Actually, can you guys pull up the other blog I had too? I wanted to show that one from iPro. I think it's in a tab. I wrote Texas Tech Sauce, and I thought that was clever.
It was. I want to
So
buy some.
here's another quick example of it. So this one is talking about eFax, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, why are you still using a fax machine? It's 2017, 18 maybe when this podcast comes out. Depends. So I make, the first 200 words are about mocking the 80s, about how you're going to a Toto concert and
Nice.
you're in your Trans Am, which by the way, wish I was there.
Dude, magical car, magical band.
Mwah.
Yeah. So,
but like the
no, we're
point
hitting
of
on
this
Trans Ams here.
hire me Pontiac. Oh wait, you're gone. Yeah. So like the back to your word count question.
Sure.
So like maybe there's 300-400 words of actual benefit breakdowns and stuff and like why businesses want to do this.
Mhm.
But we start. I personally start out with about 150, 200 just interest, just to get them in and again, it's like the old adage, it's like a skirt, short enough to keep it interesting, long enough to cover the important bits. And that's really how the blog should be. But I kind of maintain this outlook that blogs are kind of useless if they're not in a grander strategy, because in the end, it's hard to make blogs matter if they're not linking to anything, because that's important for SEO, right? Search engine optimization dictates that by interlinking, you're basically saying this page is linked to this one. You think of it as like a spider web. If something's not linked in that spider web, it's basically useless because it's just gone.
So when you write the blog, you link to other blogs within the blog series, or
right? And like the current way we're doing it, we're not. I don't think we're finished rolling this out yet, but we have like an annual plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have kind of like before the client onboards, and we kind of think about this, and then during the onboarding, we will write this plan, and we'll try to come up with every single piece of content, and we won't go down to the title and the description and all that, but we'll get a pretty good idea. And in our heads, we've been kind of working it into a spider web. We say this is the cornerstone content, which is like the hub of everything. Links to this links to this links to this, which makes sense from two standpoints. First of all, you've got great SEO because that means that you've got your eFax blogs talks about productivity, which might lead to business communications because eFax is a part of communications,
sure,
and whatnot. Obviously, this one about Toto, so I can't show too much. Give away my Toto secrets. But so one is good for SEO, and two,
sure.
it's good for interest because if someone's reading your blog, they're interested in what you have to say, and if you keep linking, you keep giving them content. It's like you don't want them to starve out.
Sure.
You don't want them to go into the blog, be like, wow, this was really cool, and then just be left with like a what now?
Yeah.
But if you give them the way to keep going, then they have something, and that creates that spider web that's really good.
That's excellent. And then, so do you start and stop each blog kind of the same way, or like do you for the client, like do you say, hey, and then so make sure to check out so and so for more information, or how do you wrap the blogs up to make them go back and maybe go or is that a strategy? Have them go back and navigate the site after they're done?
Well, currently the way we've been doing it is we kind of do a contact at the end of it. To be completely honest, the contact isn't particularly strong because again, like I said earlier, it's like the conversational
Right.
phase. So very, very, very rarely. I mean, blogs are terrible for conversion. They're really good for SEO. They're really good for interest. They're really good for personality. But we do, like right there, you see that contact us,
Mhm.
links to the contact page, gives someone a chance to go there. Because obviously you don't want to starve them out, like I said, and just
Right.
leave them no room. Um, but yeah, I mean, they can end multiple different ways, but there should always be a clear and concise call to action because there is a point why you're writing this, right? I mean,
Mm.
regardless of what your topic is, your point is we, the royal we, the
Sure.
MSP, can help you, and here's how, and here's all the good things we can do. If you have this, we offer this.
Right.
It's without being too salesy. You're just telling them we're here for you, regardless.
So like the blogs are really focused more like on business outcomes, the technology it produces,
hmm
and just kind of like the stuff that it does,
Right.
more so than how it works, right?
Right, and I mean, we have like white papers, which are longer in length, and those are kind of the more technical breakdowns of stuff.
Mhm.
Which as a technical writer, is kind of what I prefer to write. I mean, sometimes they could be a pain if I don't know and I have to spend. But I usually know my stuff pretty well. Spend time looking up. So the difference between the two, I would say, is they both, even white papers have that kind of hook and going into it, but they break down the technical stuff. So you leave the blogs as the benefits, kind of like that.
Sure.
So you kind of split those two into, I mean, the white papers just have more is the end.
And then what's a good frequency somebody should keep up? So like if I'm at home, I'm gonna write a blog. People are like, man, I gotta write blogs every day. Is it every week? What's a good number to throw out there to be aiming for?
That's kind of hard to say. I would say for our clients, we do two a month is pretty much plenty. And this also it depends if you syndicate or not, which means if you're sending it out to your LinkedIn, if you're posting it to your Facebook, because that any outbound link that you're saying like you send it to your Facebook. Facebook says, "Hey guys, come read my blog." You basically got however many readers coming back into your site. Um, so then if you have that all set up, it's kind
Mm.
of like you're getting extra webs into your spider web, and that's good. If you don't have that and you're just kind of posting for posting's sake, really as many as you can get.
Okay.
You don't want to oversaturate too much either, because then it just seems like you're just pumping content for pumping content's sake. It should
Right.
mean something. So that's why that's the logic behind why we do what we do. We pick a topic for the month, we push on that, and the next topic kind of hands it off. It should never be a like a real weird dry handoff like I'm talking about. I don't know, Wi-Fi technology. I should never be like, anyways, here's backup.
Right.
It should always be like, and if that's the case, it should be like Wi-Fi, this, that, the other, cloud backups. And you kind of transition like that. So in that, to answer your question in a long-winded way, as much as you can, but not too much. If it doesn't mean
As
anything.
much as you can, but
But
not too much.
if it doesn't mean anything. You have
Gotcha.
to be saying something in the blog. Don't just post for posting's sake.
Right. So what's a good like rule of thumb? So if I'm gonna start like writing my blog today, and
Mhm.
like there's a lot to go into.
Right.
I haven't blogged, or maybe I at all, or haven't blogged in a long time. What are like some like main things I should keep in mind as I'm starting to go through the blog? Like, okay, I know I got to keep it a certain length. I know I got to match certain keywords in there, right? What are some other like big maybe like tips you'd want to give me as a first time writer?
I say write something you know about is really something good. Because if you're writing like, are you talking about like personal blogs or for
For
we're
like the
talking?
business, yeah.
Yeah, if you're writing something for the business, maybe something like we like to do behind the scenes because it's effective.
Hmm.
So I think something that you're passionate about that really speaks to you in the content. Because again, the keyword stuff, anyone can put in keywords, anyone can pump 1,000 blogs a day. It's whatever, but it's all in the content. So you have to care about what you're writing about, which we do,
Yeah.
and that's why we do IT marketing, isn't it? Because we all know it, we all like it,
Yeah.
we're here. Um, and we care.
How much of the company culture stuff do you try to put into the blogs? Like, do you ever do any stuff that's just about company culture and not really business stuff or around technology, just more focused on, hey, this is us at a go-kart, you know,
Well,
race or
can we
whatever.
pull up my old Tridigital blog, please? Because that is a pretty good visual representation of this.
And so, dude, what got you influenced in writing just in general? Like, what do you think started that to even get you down the road of writing?
I wrote screenplays, and I thought I was funny, and then somebody told me I wasn't, and they said, "You're the driest, most technical writer ever," and I said, technical writing. I should do that.
Nice.
And that's what I ended up doing.
And then you showed them.
And then I showed them, and they made it in Hollywood.
Nice.
Shit. So here's okay. So back to your question about company culture and having a point. So this blog I wrote for Try Digital. It's about effective email marketing.
Yeah.
It's a really long blog. It's about 3,000 words, which is more or less the length of an ebook. So printed out, it'd be like 10 or 12 pages.
Wow.
But it just has kind of like a goofy feel because I want it to encapsulate what I feel for Try Digital and what I feel every one of us kind of goes for. So you've got Art of Me. I had a beard and mustache back then. Don't be fooled. And we had a really talented designer also by the name of Ricky design this, and he's awesome. So he drew me. He drew all these like custom artwork, and
It's super cool.
I mean, obviously, we're not going to read the blog line item, but I can tell you that it has a bunch of our culture sprinkled throughout, but there is a message between it. So I don't think it should ever be a blog all about just company culture or whatever. Because that's great. If I want to know you, I'll get to know you. But chances are, if I'm looking into your stuff, you're offering something, I think you're trying to give me something. So don't to put it blunt, don't waste my time by being like, here's a fun thing, and then whatever. I think that's a great thing to start the conversation and end it and kind of throughout. But again, there should be a message. So with this one, I'm talking about my love for Red Lobster.
Okay.
Because as a joke, one of the writers signed me up for a Red Lobster newsletter, which I refused to unsubscribe to. And I get an obscene amount of endless shrimp emails.
Nice.
And I haven't been yet, but I decided that would be a great starting opener. So, I talk about this endless shrimp obsession in this blog. There's my lobster screenshot.
Nice.
That is a real screenshot of my inbox.
Nice. Getting a live feed there.
Getting a live feed in my inbox. And it's just, it's goofy, but if you keep scrolling down, I kind of get into the nitty gritty of why we do email marketing, how to make a successful email, and all that. So, although this is about email marketing, it's a useful blog. Just fun though.
Absolutely. And then so as you're writing stuff about people can think, God, I've written a ton of emails, right? I've written a ton of stuff. Should I email people to go out and check out my blog? Or should I just how do I get people to come and maybe watch my blog or want to subscribe to it or learn that it's even there?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you write a blog, just don't be pretentious about it. Don't be like, this is the best blog ever. But yeah, I mean, how else are you going to get it? That's what we do.
Right.
When we write blogs, I mean, logistically, if we just think about it, it's like if you don't have it syndicated, which means it doesn't go to your Facebook, it's just sitting in your blog feed. It doesn't inform anyone. So the only way you're going to get anyone to go there is by telling them, which we use newsletters to kind of spread the word. So every newsletter we do, because we do one a month, always includes links to blogs. Usually the two most recent that we've created, and that's a good way because that spreads out. A client might have a list of 5,000 people, and that means 5,000 people have access to your blogs. Which means they have access to all of your blogs. So it doesn't really matter if they read those two because they have access to all of them. And that's the point of the interlinking,
Yeah, it's just keeping it consistent, I guess, the whole time too, and
so,
just make sure that you're constantly putting content out there. Right?
Absolutely, and if you're just starting your business or whatever, you're trying to come up with some semblance of an SEO strategy, you definitely want to email out, you want to talk to people, you want to just be like, hey, check out my blog, on your Facebook, LinkedIn, emails if you got them, newsletters are great for that, just anywhere really.
That's awesome, man. And then, so do you have any resources you maybe want to point people to that say, hey, if I want to look stuff up, how do I start thinking about blogging or writing or structuring my writing? Where would you point people to?
Man, I'm probably the worst person to ask that to because if I have to be completely honest, I follow the sage advice of basically all the other copywriters, and we got a real close-knit group here, so we just kind of all bounce ideas off each other. I know that a bunch of popular resources include Hemingway and stuff for editing, and I don't know, I think Ash talked about that in his podcast.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of you get out there and you write.
Yeah.
I would say truly, here's the one thing I do remember from my pre-canned speech is just to read other people's writing. I think is the thing that's helped me the most.
Who do you read? When you're just at home, you're gonna read something, or what books do you follow, or what authors do you really follow?
Man, I just like anything sci-fi related.
Okay, nice.
I like Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? You know, Philip K. Dick.
Very good. Yeah.
I just like dystopian sci-fi. Probably not a great conversation piece because it's just all very bleak, but I think there's a beauty in the bleakness. You know,
Yeah, it's perfect reading for the holidays right now.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
Nothing says Christmas like a robot takeover.
right, which
Yeah.
by the way is the name of my band.
Ro-
Please check us out.
Nice.
Robot Takeover.
That's a dope name. Dude, so have you written anything outside of like work? Do you do any like just writing on your own or any other stuff that just kind of like short stories or things you have out there?
This is kind of weird, but I still write screenplays.
Awesome.
And I don't tell anyone about them except for anyone who watches this podcast. Kind of weird.
Surprise, everybody.
Surprise! I still write screenplays, and they're probably not any better than what I did in high school, but God, they're fun.
That's awesome, man. As long as you're having fun writing, I mean, that's cool, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I wrote one.
And you never know, dude. One day somebody might pick this up and be
one
like,
day it might get shredded at a Hollywood office.
Exactly, yeah. As is the dream of most Hollywood writers, right? Hey, dude. So, what if somebody wants to follow you, man, and can catch up with you later on, or maybe ask some questions? Is there a social media you have? Maybe an Instagram, Twitter, something you want people to follow?
I have a Snapchat that's quite prevalent.
Snapchat, excellent.
I don't have Facebook. I don't have Twitter. I have a LinkedIn, but Snapchat's my go-to. Beer Snob 69.
Beer Snob 69.
That's right.
What does the 69 stand for? Is that a year of beer that you like? Or?
Well, first of all, that's a yin yang symbol, which means a lot to me.
Yes.
My friend is Chinese, and I really follow his teachings.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Secondly,
lots of Zen there.
Oh yeah, tons. And also 1 through 68 were taken. I tried.
Oh man.
Yeah. Oh, it's the worst.
It's the worst, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Hate when that happens. So Beer Snob 69 on Snapchat if you guys want to follow him.
Please do.
Yeah, Ricky's hilarious, by the way. He's a great dude. Just have around the office and a terrific writer. I mean, if you get a chance, check out his blog he wrote for us. He's done a bunch of really good stuff for us. So, dude, we got to do this again, man. Ricky, we got to have you back.
I work here, so I will be back.
So you'll be forced down here, basically, for saying.
Yeah, well, yeah, you know.
Yeah, you don't have to come down here. It's just your job depends on it. That's whatever.
I'll have my I have a Trans Am Wolf mug I have to show off. I showed off my Joe Pesci mug today.
Nice. Well, we have to bring you down for the Trans Am Wolf mug.
Please do.
Man.
Please do.
Hey, dude. Well, thanks a lot again, man. Appreciate it, Ricky. As always, great. So, guys at home, if you're watching this, remember, blog consistently. Make sure to start. Really, I think that's the hardest part is just starting. So just go out there and start writing. If you need help with how to start your blog or you're trying to figure out what you want to do, feel free to email us. I mean, if you want to choose a question, I can we can get on a call with Ricky pretty easily. So also, if you like what we're doing, subscribe. We need you to subscribe down below.
Please do.
Comment, tell us what you think about these videos. We're going to keep making them better and keep working on these things. So big shout out to Aaron and Akobe for helping us put this podcast together, and Omar for the music. Thank you guys very much. And thank you guys for watching this podcast. All right, until next week. See you guys later.